Hebrews. This is our non-Messianic conversation channel. It's our Sabbath class, the 1st of May, 2021. I'm asking everybody to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification button. Like I was saying before, I don't know if everybody paid attention, but with all this going on, it's time to start preparing, fixing your mind around leaving this place, because it's not really our home. So let's start plug that in there. So we're going to do our moment of silence and our prayer and psalms, and then we're going to current events. Okay. Holy, holy, holy is he who sits high and looks low. Faithful and true is he who sits upon the throne. We come praising thee, O Lord, upon thy day of visitation, your holy Sabbath day. You, O Lord, foretold of these days, and that we are now here upon us. Give us, O Lord, and guard us, O Lord. Make haste to deliver us from our oppressors. You and you alone is Israel's Savior. We come with outstretched arms, O Lord. Your power and glory we know of, Lord. And it is forever and ever, according to your book and to your timeline of events, O Lord. We pray. All power and glory belongeth unto thee. We praise thee at this hour and repent of our transgressions against thee, O Lord. Forgive us, O Lord. Forgive us of our transgressions against thee. All praises unto thee. Okay, let me get a song right here. This is 779. Excuse me. Psalm of Asaph is a prayer for destruction of the heathen. It says, O God, the heathens are coming to thine inheritance. Thy holy temple have they defiled. They have laid Jerusalem on heaps. The dead bodies of thy servants have they given to be meat unto the fowls of the heaven, to flesh of the saints, and to the beasts of the earth. Their blood have they shed like water round about Jerusalem, and there was none to bury them. We are become a reproach to our neighbors, a scorn and a derision to them that are round about us. How long, Lord, wilt thou be angry forever? Shall thy jealousy burn like fire? Pour out thy wrath upon the heathen that have not known thee, and upon the kingdoms that have not called upon thy name. For they have devoured Jacob, and laid waste his dwelling place. O remember not against us former iniquities. Let thy tender mercies speedily prevent us, for we are brought very low. Help us, O God, of our salvation, for the glory of thy name, and deliver us. Purge away our sins for thy name's sake. Wherefore should the heathen say, where is their God? Let him be known among the heathen in our sight by the revenging of the blood of thy servants, which is shed. Let the sign of the prisoners come before thee, according to the greatness of thy power. Preserve thou those that are appointed to die, and render unto our neighbors sevenfold in their bosom their reproach, wherewith they have reproached thee, O Lord. So we, thy people and sheep of thy pasture, we will give thee thanks forever. We will show forth thy praise to all generations. Yeah, that was Psalm 79. A prayer for destruction of the heathen. Okay. So we had current events. Anybody got any current events they wanted to mention, bring up?
Yes.
Okay.
Have you all seen the video? It's called Jews of West Africa documentary.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I sent that out for people to watch.
Okay. I guess I don't know. Maybe I stumbled across it on but and then I started watching the ones that you sent. But is yours more modern day or something? Because well, I don't know. The dates on the one that you sent out. When did they publish that one? Or is it
Um,
exactly the same?
it may be a little different.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. But I thought that did you all talk about it already?
Yeah, what you got? You can bring it up.
Oh no, I was just going to point out how, like the Anglo-Saxon, we thought that that meant Caucasian, but it says something about House of Isaac or
Yeah, that's the son's eyes, Anglo-Saxon.
yeah, and uh, and Hebrew they called it meaning the euro, the one that said the Hebrew, but it was oh I ivory or Ibri.
Right.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, it is. It's no different than over here. They didn't rename us about 4 or 5 times since we've been here.
Hello.
Right. There's a reason behind that.
Yeah,
Right.
and the fact that say that the Africans are circumcised more than any other nation. Well, I think that's I think that's probably well, if people not researching, then they wouldn't know. A lot of people probably don't even think of stuff like that, you know. So
Right.
yeah, so I found that interesting as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a pretty good documentary.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, got a lot of information in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, and that class from last night, I'm gonna have to uh, go in and watch that one first chance I get.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I got something right here. I've been talking about keep on putting emphasis on Genesis chapter 10 about Ham, Shem, and Japhet, and how that if you look at it from a DNA perspective, you can see it's obvious that Japhet, who is the Greeks and Europeans, is no way that he's Noah's son, because they totally different. They even look different. They got different origins. So you have to go back and re-examine all that whole situation. So I'm gonna kind of help you out here with this video. This is these Chinese, like I said, it's a lot of stuff going on with this uh, they augmentation. They tampering with these animals and doing all kind of stuff in the laboratory. Right here, down here where I'm from, Louisiana, they got it's a shrimp that they came into the, here you go right here, shrimp that's in the ocean, and he's invasive. They put him here. He got here some kind of way, but maybe about 5 or 6 years ago. But now he's starting to throw the whole ecosystem off as far as the other shrimp, and he eating up everything. So I'm gonna show you this right here. And so looking at this, it's obvious the shrimp ain't like the other shrimp. And so, like I'm saying, the same thing with the JFAT. He ain't like us. So ain't no way know his son. He know his son. But let's look at this.
And A.C. Cooper Jr. is in the middle of a very productive shrimp season. But in addition to his regular catch of native white and brown shrimp, Cooper is also catching a larger striped invasive species that is called tiger shrimp. A.C. says he caught his first tiger shrimp about 4 years ago.
How many have you been catching lately? Sometimes we catch 3, 4 a night. It all depends on what areas we go in.
The first tiger shrimp was caught off Louisiana's coast in 2007 in Vermilion Bay. They can grow twice as big as native shrimp and are more aggressive. There are concerns that the tiger shrimp could outcompete white and brown shrimp for resources. That's a serious issue when you consider Louisiana's $2.5 billion commercial shrimping industry.
We just wonder how they got in our waters and where did they come from.
Mm-hmm.
Is there enough of them around the coast for?
You gotta ask that same question about J-Fat. Where he come from?
So we have to worry about it right now? I don't think so, but I think it may be an issue.
Tiger shrimp are one of the most farmed shrimp species worldwide. In 1988, a batch of Asian tiger shrimp escaped from a research lab off South Carolina's coast, leading to a surge in numbers. The shrimp have been reported sporadically along the Atlantic coast over 2 decades and have been seen in the Gulf of Mexico for about 6 years. From 2006 to 2010, there were 110 reports of tiger shrimp in the U.S. However, a large uptick followed, where 476 tiger shrimp were reported in 2011 alone. 125 of them were found in Louisiana. Less than 300 were reported last year, but officials believe fewer fishermen were calling them in because it was less of a novelty to see the Asian shrimp in their nets. Department of Wildlife and Fisheries biologist Rob Bourgeois is keeping track of the tiger shrimp catches in Louisiana waters.
The reports seem to be random across the coast, from Calcasieu all the way to Pontchartrain Basin. We're seeing reports this year. This year, our numbers are up, and we did do a pretty good effort in getting the word out to the fishermen to report it. And so our numbers are higher than last year at this time.
The potential problems are this is a large and aggressive shrimp that actually eats other invertebrates. It eats shrimp, it eats tiny crabs. So not only are you competing directly for resources with our native shrimp, but you're also directly consuming them. So
we see right here what the guy's saying is he possessing all the characteristics. They have the same as the rest of the shrimp. He unusual. He over aggressive and all that. Same thing with J-Fat. Look what he done. Look at his track record. Ain't no way in the world he J-Fat son. I mean, he know what's up.
Kind of a double whammy.
Come from somewhere else.
And then the bigger question to me, the greatest potential problem is the transmission of diseases. We do know that they're capable of carrying up several diseases that it's possible to transmit to white shrimp or brown shrimp, which that would be a disaster.
Shrimper A.C. Cooper Jr. says he is catching smaller tiger shrimp compared to the last few years.
That tells me one thing, that they are mating, they are breeding.
At this point in time, the situation is inconclusive. It leaves shrimpers to still report tiger shrimp counts and scientists to collect more data. The research also continues in other ways. Have you eaten it?
Okay. Any comments?
Oh, wow. I know they say they come from Asia. I watched a little clip on that a couple of weeks ago. They were talking about that. And they can grow up to 9 to 11 inches.
Right.
Yeah, that's that lab work too.
Right. You say they said they came out of lab. That's so interesting that coronavirus came out of Asia. Now all of a sudden, these things come out of Asia.
Right.
Everything come out of Asia by accident.
It's not good for us. That's that unclean food.
Right.
They bottom feed.
Right, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I noticed all of a sudden too, they got these super large shrimp they selling around here, so and that's something.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, so with that being said, I was gonna try to keep everybody up on this HR 40 thing about the reparation. So I'm gonna play this. Okay. So what they had a news conference, show you how these people work. They had a news conference first, then they came with they gave information on how it had evolved and where it was at and all that. But it's all part of a big plan they got. By the time we finish this, you'll see it. Okay.
In a meal to never be activated. And then a century plus of horror. First of all, the Jim Crowism, the lynching, 4,000 plus, predominantly men and women of color, men and women leaving their homes in the 1800s and the early 1900s, never to return. I think it is important as we discuss this that it penetrates to those who are listening that this is not a cry for a handout. It is a cry for an acknowledgement that there has never been a response to the unpaid labor that helped build this nation. There is no doubt that this nation was built on the unpaid labor of slaves, never compensated. The banks on Wall Street were built on that. The transatlantic slave trade, creating wealth, was built on that. And so we come not with anger, even anguish, we come with facts. And this commission will be stood up to be standing on facts. It will take a deep dive into the facts of our history and where we are today. And I am grateful that we have colleagues like Jerry Nadler and, of course, Congressman Cohen, Chairman Cohen, that has helped us bring not only this story to the forefront by way of this commission, but it will also bring to us the idea of a solution. I want to close with some revelations where people have finally recognized concepts that they didn't recognize before. President Barack Obama indicated that the wealth issue warranted reparations, the wealth gap, which is 1/16 of the wealth of African Americans. The Caucasian community has 16 times that wealth. Harvard Medical School study that indicated if reparations had been given before the COVID-19, we would not have been sicker, more infected, and died as much. There is evidence. Finally, as we look at our children who are experiencing academic loss, we take a landscape ride around America. We'll find the worst schools, inadequate education, and children who are suffering in African American communities. We don't look for a non-fact-based solution. HR 40 will give us that, and it will allow not only African Americans, the descendants of enslaved Africans, but it will promote the economic engine of this nation. We come with a gift, and that gift is if reparations works, the nation will be better for it. And the world will see all of us as a nation that has no inability to address inhumanity. We do it forthrightly, openly, for the world to see. America will be received in the world on international reparations as a country that has come unto her own. Thank you so very much for being present on this call today. I yield back.
Thank you so very much, Congressman Sheila Jackson Lee. And in your own words, we come with facts. We're going to now hear from Chairman Steve Cohen of Tennessee, who will address us for 3 minutes.
Thank you very much, and it's good to be with you, and it's good to follow one of my leaders, my mentors, since I've been in Congress, Representative Sheila Jackson Lee, who is the sponsor of this resolution and has been a great leader on so many issues. But she was the sponsor on this and came to me in the House and asked me to schedule it for a hearing. I was happy to do it. I want to pay my respects again, as I've done many times, not to enough, to the late John Conyers, a great member of the House, who was the initiator of this proposal in 1989, and also was the reason why Res 194, which apologized for slavery and Jim Crow in the 110th Congress, which I sponsored, got a hearing and got on the floor and was able to pass, because John Conyers took it upon himself to do it when really most of the rest of the leadership shunned it and didn't want to have anything to do with it because they were concerned about the possible repercussions from others. So John Conyers is a star. Can't thank him enough. The hearing will be in Wednesday. I so look forward.
Yeah, so what you see what they're doing. They setting all this up. They already know what the end result is going to be, but they're just bringing everything down the line, and timing it. So this right here is news conference on the advancement of HR 40. If you want to watch it, watch the whole thing. And because I'm trying to go somewhere with this. Let me get this. Okay. That was a news conference before this last event right here that they had. Okay. Anybody got a comment? Okay, this the actual study right here. Play some of this. This after it went through the House.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am so excited to welcome everyone to the Congressional Black Caucus 49th Black Caucus Foundation's ALC, and so excited to be able to be hosting, along with my wonderful co-moderator, Natishi Taifa, Why We Can't Wait, HR 40 Reparations. Dynamic, provocative, important members of this panelist have in their own way advocated for change in America. And I'm delighted that they will be here. And as I present them, we want to make sure that we hear every single one. So we ask all of my panelists to be able to attend to their remarks such that we will be able to hear everyone, and as well hear all of the Q&A that will be.
Yeah, so this lady right over here in the red with the red hair right here, she the one that did the thing in Atlantic Times about the I can't think of the name of it. So anyway, they didn't implement what she done into the history books, into our high school history books, and that's gonna come up later in a minute. I just want to share that with you right now. I can't think of the name of it, but it was something to do with Reparation Project or something like. Anyway, let me play this.
So very important. Why are we here? The answer is why we can't wait. HR 40, the commission to study and develop reparation proposals. I just want to take a moment to honor two distinguished gentlemen who, because of their work, we are here today. First, the Honorable John Conyers, who serves as the Dean of the United States Congress. John Conyers introduced this legislation. We're so grateful for his service and his life. We thank his family for sharing his great knowledge with us. And then, of course, Dr. Ron Daniels, the visionary, the head of the National African American Reparations Commission, whose shoulders we stand on, who worked alongside of John Conyers. We thank them both very much for the journey we are now taking. After a period of unity over the last decade, we have come to a point where we recognize that there has been a backlash of racism and intolerance. What better time than to have a comprehensive review of race in America? That is what the Commission to Study and Develop Reparation Proposals is all about. Restoration and preparation. We realize that we must take a knowledgeable stand about the history of the descendants of enslaved Africans. Those very hardy souls came to this nation in 1619, and in this year, we've been here 401 years. We have in essence built the nation. The halls of Congress that I walked through are built by slaves. The White House, built by slaves. Slavery, however, is America's original sin, and the country has yet to atone for the atrocities visited upon generations of enslaved Africans and their descendants. Moreover, the mythology built around the Civil War has obscured the discussion of what happened to the descendants of enslaved Africans. The idea that there was an Emancipation Proclamation. 2 years later, there was the announcement by General Granger on the shores of Galveston, Texas. 2 extra years individuals waited. And then, of course, there is a myth that why should I be concerned about reparations? Didn't they get compensation? And many of us know that the good intentions of General Sherman, 40 acres and a mule, the good intentions of President Abraham Lincoln, who died, none of those came to fruition. We saw our journey go into the 20th century, the 19th century, now the 21st century. Isn't it interesting that over the last week, we saw young men stand on a football field with all of their heart, unified from different backgrounds, unified and standing there, acknowledging to America, we want to be better. We want to be unified with all people. Tragically, through this whole era of white supremacy, somebody thought in the stands that it was important to boo. Well, today we're going to celebrate. We're going to celebrate the idea that we can come together around curing the original sin, come together around passing this legislation introduced by the Honorable John Conyers way in 1989. Now in 2020, we're going to be the problem solvers. We're going to acknowledge the fundamental purpose of HR 40, a governmental commission with academic scholars to address head on this question of the destiny of enslaved Africans and their descendants. And so it is very important. Our message today is that we're moving forward. And let me just say to all of my colleagues in the United States Congress, over 150 from all walks of life, from all regions of the United States, are co-sponsors of HR 40. Today, on this moment where we have the opportunity to pass this legislation, we'll hear from these dynamic persons who their lives represent restoration and reparation. And so I'm delighted to be able to introduce someone who has had 45 years of battling and fighting for this question of restoration and repair. That is Nkechi Taifa. And she is, of course, an outstanding leader, president and CEO of the Taifa Group, a social enterprise from whose mission is to advance justice. She's an attorney, an activist, an advocate, and an author. I call her a friend of HR 40, who has not stood silently by, but has stood up, and she has been heard. I'm delighted to have her as my co-moderator. Thank you so very much. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you so very much, Congresswoman. There is a critical urgency in the air. We cannot wait. There is an urgency because the U.S. government has yet to take responsibility for its
now all of a sudden it's critical and it's urgent.
Blatant role in the enslavement era, the unfathomable horrors inflicted upon our beings, for laws, policies, and practices that evolved into the peonage system, the chain gangs, the sharecropping, the redlining, into the health, wealth, and educational apartheid type inequities, the mass incarceration, and the terrorism against African descendant people throughout the centuries. We cannot wait. There is an urgency because the denial of self-determination, the flagrant cultural degradation, the transgenerational trauma embedded in our genes, we cannot wait. There is an urgency because the role that government, corporations, industries, religious and educational institutions, private estates, and other entities play in supporting the enslavement and its many, many, many vestiges or roles that can no longer be ignored, missed, or swept under the rug. We cannot wait. We must open up that casket. The time is past due that the injury be recognized and examined, discussed, and redressed. Thank you, HR 40, for being a vehicle by which to have a public policy conversation about this issue in the Congress of the United States. Thank you, Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee, for your steadfastness. Thank you, everyone who is part of this convening today, for being part of the process of bringing victory to fruition.
Okay, so this lady right here,
come to the forefront.
This lady right here is what I'm talking about.
Her confidence and, yes, her knowledge. Share with us this whole question, reparations, and it's weaving into one of the most prominent news forums in the nation and the world, the New York Times. Nicole, thank you so very much.
Did John Conyers pass away?
For having me, and I hate going.
What's that?
Did John Conyers pass away?
Yeah, the lady Sheila Jackson Lee took his place.
Okay.
Right. So this is the lady I was talking about right here, that she wrote that
Glad because everyone else has already said so many amazing things. So I'll be very brief. If you want to know my argument for reparations, just read the piece that I wrote for the New York Times Magazine called What is Owed. But if you read the 1619 Project from beginning to end,
1619
it is
Project.
a clear argument.
Okay.
slavery is not just something from the past, but we are still living and struggling with that legacy. And just as we inherit wealth in this country, you also inherit your country's debt. As economist Sandy Darity says, delay does not eradicate the debt, and we have had a 150-year delay on the country paying that debt. Reparations are not merely about discrimination. Reparations are about addressing a crime against humanity and the duration of that crime, the breadth of that crime, and the codification of that crime across all of our legal and political institutions. The 13th Amendment, which eradicated slavery, empowered Congress to legislate to eliminate what it called the badges and incidents of slavery. The conditions of Black Americans are those badges of slavery. The fact that Black Americans are on the bottom of every indicator of well-being, the fact that to this day, the wealth gap between a white household with children and a Black household with children, Black people have 1 cent of wealth on the dollar of every white household with children. These are the badges of slavery. These only exist because this was a country that thought it was okay to buy and sell human beings in order to exploit their labor. And that is why the unfinished work of the civil rights movement is economic justice. So I would argue clearly that if we ever want to become the country of those majestic ideals, this country has to pay its debt.
Okay, any comments?
I like what she said about the unfinished business of the NAACP is the reparations. I mean, even though it was started by Jews, but that is the unfinished business. We never got the 40 acres and the mule. We never got anything.
Right. It's all intentional.
Mm-hmm.
They want you to make you think they are doing this and doing that, but all the time they just been buying time to and keeping us down. But like I said, now you can see something in the air,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they pushing it along like all these Boule members right here. But anyway, they pushing it along. So you just saw the lady who was talking, right? So,
with the red hair.
Right. She made that. She did the article in the New York Times. It's called she just said it anyway. I keep on forgetting.
1619.
1619 project. So they've made that part of high school curriculums now and college curriculum. So
oh, really?
They put it. But so this is the point I'm making right here. So let's check this out. You know who that clown is, right?
We can't see no picture, baby.
Oh, okay, hold on. Not bad. Okay. So everybody know who that clown is, right? Yeah. Now look what it's saying. Mitch McConnell.
Republican.
Yeah, Mitch McConnell sends letter to the Education Secretary demanding removal of the 1619 project from the federal grant program.
Oh, wow.
See that? Now you can't tell me that ain't a devil. Because that ain't a devil. What is a devil?
Right.
So it says Senator McConnell, and this goes back to what I was just saying. Well, I just said, I mean, I'm showing people ain't paying attention to this, they ain't looking at it. Back to the tiger shrimp. How in the hell this person right here? He don't have no characteristics like Jacob. So how in the hell is he Jacob's brother?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But we ain't nobody paying attention to that. Just like the tiger shark, don't look like he was introduced to Louisiana. The other shrimp don't look nothing like him. We know he was introduced to the bayou. So these people right here is not. They ain't no J-Fat son. They ain't no Ham son. Noah's son. They come from somewhere else. They invasive species. So anyway, it says the Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell is waiting in the culture wars on Friday morning. It says in a letter obtained by CNN, the Republican leader asked Education Secretary Miguel Cardona to abandon the curriculum in American schools that McConnell argues tells a revisionist history of American founding, right? McConnell claims these programs, such as New York Times 1619 Project, reorient the view of American history away from their intended purposes toward a political sides, and divisive agenda. Politico was the first to report the letter. So you got much more media things to be dealing with than worrying about a 1619 project in
school
curriculum. Yeah, like for instance, reparations.
Yeah.
That's more important than worrying about that.
Well, Leonard, do you know what the theme or the content of the 1619 is? Is that just being teaching the children about slavery, or what is that?
The 1619 project telling a real story about how they went from the beginning. Their intentions on when they brought us over here and the inhumane things that they done. They leave that out. You know, they pretty much. I know when I was in school, in high school, they kind of glazed over it. But when they did talk about it, they try to puff the white man up.
Yeah, yeah, and they don't. I mean, they just tell the story like it was like the black people were created to be
right.
Beneath the white man. Yeah, because teaching it as an elementary school teacher, I had to add a lot of stuff in there,
Right.
and if they would have walked in my classroom, they probably would have fired me. But anyway, yeah, it's just a good old boy narrative, and you're teaching this to these children, and you don't even tell them that they were brought here against their will.
Right.
You just tell the story is told that there were people in Africa that were not educated, that needed help, that, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Right. So by the time you finish with the story and the lesson, then it's like the black man tripped over a stick and fell on a slave boat.
Right. Right.
There wasn't no group of inhumane people that did it.
Right.
They were all in a village, and they just made a mistake and they went on the wrong boat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And speaking of inhumane, I'm just wondering if anybody knows, has the statement about us being 3/5 of a human being been removed from the Constitution?
I don't think so.
Does anybody? Okay.
I don't think so. I was just did a conversation a couple of months ago. I think, it was the guy brought that up. They said it's still there, but it might be gone, but I don't think it is.
Right.
Yeah.
I know that our right to vote has to be voted on, I think, every 25 years or something like that.
Right.
So nothing has changed. But they use the language, Leonard. They kept using the language. It's urgent, and I wanted to know what you thought about that.
Well, that's where I'm going right now. So I'm going to show you this.
Okay.
I was saying when I first started class, telling people that first of all, we when you go back and look at our history, we've been in first. Our forefathers were stiff necked, and you couldn't tell them nothing. We see Negroes like that right now. You can't tell them nothing, and that's how we ended up over here. So with that history, we always got to have our bags packed. Because we always ended up somewhere where we weren't supposed to be at. The Most High got to clean it up, and then we got to pack our bags and bring us back. So that's where we are right now. So I'm gonna play this right here, based on what we just saw these last couple of videos, and you tell me what's going on. Here we go.
Hello and welcome to this breaking news story. Buckingham Palace officials have said that the Queen, one moment please, I'm just receiving some breaking news, In other news, the Bank of the World has officially confirmed that the United States of Africa has surpassed China as the biggest economy in the world. The world's biggest economy.
They ain't talking about that.
Wow.
Africa surpassed China. But remember what the prophecy is that I told you, China ain't gonna be, it's gonna come up, but it ain't gonna be there but for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The United States of Africa is pledging $1 trillion to help other struggling countries around the world.
Wow.
Hi, call me 20. And for quite a while now, I've been living in the United Kingdom.
UK is not a nice place to live. UK is not a nice place to live.
See, all this stuff right here working, but they ain't telling you about it. All the YouTube groups and all that, people leaving. They leaving in droves. They ain't telling you about it.
Now, I want to show you and explain to you opportunities in Africa. Follow my journey into all the 54 countries in Africa, and together we would create a movement to see Africa dominate the global economy in just 20 years' time. That is 2041. And this is Africa 2041. This channel is motivated by every man or woman that wishes to see the development of Africa, or anyone like me who is tired of seeing images like this, or this on Western TV. For everyone tired of being defined or labeled just because of their skin and what some people's socio-economy.
Come on now.
Africa is not just a country. Africa is you. Africa is me. And no doubt, young people are already doing great things in Africa and in the diaspora. Mindset is already shifting thanks to the likes of Franklin, Laxet, African Tigress, Lloyd Meyer, Taiwo Aina, and other African Americans returning home. But we have a huge task ahead. Trying to convince people is fine. Like I said, people, if you are obviously successful, people will come and celebrate you. The race has begun, and investments are pouring in.
I'm Nick Nimmin, and I'm a...
That's crazy. I mean, the United States of Africa.
Right. And they keep it hush hush, but you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. They're gonna just bust on the scene with a whole lot of more stuff.
Right. Is there something?
That's
So all that's being, like I said, you can see it all being it's a plane, it's a they just bang it down the pipe. You got all these reparation people and the black caucus, they already know what they're finna do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, where else is we gonna be, or we gonna go with a United States of Africa?
Exactly. We're going to Africa.
Right. And we the missing link. We the missing link too. So
Leonard, did you say
go ahead.
Did you say that the United States of Africa have surpassed China in economics?
Right. Economics, the
infrastructure and the building and stuff.
Not infrastructure, the capabilities of and the resources and all that. And because of China is over there trying to get the resources that Africa got. China don't have it.
Mm.
You got, Africa got all. China that mastered the semantics on how to ship stuff and manufacture stuff and all that, but they don't have the stuff to do the manufacturing.
Right. And I wanted to say this when you talked about manufacturing. When I was in Africa in the summer of 2016, on Sierra Leone, on the Ivory Coast,
right.
Barges and barges of products from China were flowing in.
Right.
And one of the things about, like anyone that you talk to in Africa, it's not unusual to speak to someone in Africa and they say they have a business, and most of their businesses is with trinkets or something, or hair products or something from China. So
Right.
I'm interested to see how all of the importing from China is going to be impacted now that Africa, can stand on her own, and she is a leader. She's going to be a leader in uh, exporting her goods, right?
Right. So you know what's getting ready to happen. When you're looking at it, the same thing happened before. A war's gonna happen.
Okay.
Because first of all, the continent of Africa, which they forever and ever try to keep down, is blossoming, and then Russia won't part of it, China won't part of it, America won't part of it. It's a stage being set for a war.
Okay, Leonard, and how does that play into Gog and Magog?
The Most High says that He's going to turn. One of His characteristics is to turn all nations in against each other.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So when the Israelites go back over there to the west coast of Africa, they're going to be they're not going to be at the bottom of the food chain no more. They're going to be wealthy.
Mm.
And so then that's when Gog and Magog, Japhet, like I said before about the shrimp, he wants to come and do what he did before, but the Most High back, Lord Host is back.
Mm-hmm.
His anger had been recanted. He threw with punishing Israel. Now he's going to raise them up. But God gonna come with the same thing He did before, but it ain't working this time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Prophecy done caught up with the Gentiles.
Wow, that's a good way to say that, Leonard.
Right.
So if somebody asks the question, what is the difference now? Prophecy.
Right.
It's time.
Right.
Yeah. Wow.
Right. And so, like I said, going along with that, which people reading over it and they're not looking at it, they're not connecting the dots. When He tells you in Daniel chapter 8 about He's going to change the times and the laws, the prophecies. That's what they didn't finagle, the prophecies.
Mm.
But now that we in the end times, like I say, you can have all you want written down and read. But we sitting here right now looking at things unfold, and they ain't unfolding the way you've been told us.
Mm-hmm.
So you done lied, because they ain't unfolding the way you saying it is.
Right.
Yeah. Just like you talking about, you telling me J-Fat Noah's son, but I'm looking at J-Fat. He don't look like Shem.
Mm-hmm.
So ain't something wrong. And so
Right.
you gotta be an idiot to keep on holding on to that. Because you looking and seeing he ain't on that son. He ain't no brother.
Right.
That's like saying a hyena and a lion is the same.
Exactly. And you can clearly see they're not.
They're not. Yeah. I don't care what you say. I'm looking at them. They ain't the same. Yeah,
And
so,
then yeah. Like the masses of the people, and even our people, the masses of our people, do you think they're even considering the differences in Black people and European or China? Do you think they're even considering the spiritual aspect?
no, they ain't. They ain't. That's the whole purpose of, like I was saying before, when the Most High says that those whose spirit He raised.
Yeah.
If it's some He raised, it's some He ain't raising.
Yeah.
And so you got to go back to a perfect example of that is when David, what David had done to Uriah and what he had done with Bathsheba, and then he went on by the business, thinking everything was good, but the man of God, Samuel, came in there and told him, you got 100 sheep, and then the other man had 1 sheep, and you all over there trying to get the 1 sheep, and you got 100.
Right.
David already knew was he talking about him, and he immediately dropped to the ground and started repenting.
Mm-hmm.
But if that man of God had never came, he's still been thrown.
Mm-hmm.
He came in there with the Most High sent him with the word, and when he brought it forth, David was receptive to it, and he dropped to the ground
Because of his spirit.
Right, the spirit in him, back like I said, the DNA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
I got a question for our playing this right here. I don't know who familiar with it or not. Anybody? I mean, can anybody have a definition of Pan-Africanism? Anybody know what that is?
Well,
Mm.
they were claiming that it meant, um, uh, the what I want to say, transactions between as far as like diasporans and other diasporans in those other nations that where we were scattered, um, coming back to Africa.
Right, right. Transactions and trade and all that between Africans.
Yeah.
Pan-Africanism, yeah, African consciousness. So yeah. So with that being said, I was looking at this looking at this video and tying it to what we just watched, how they setting all this stuff up. But the main even I mean to give us, I was trying to get ahead of myself. So that's what Marcus Garvey was, a Pan African. So yeah, that's what he was.
Mm-hmm.
No, we know the powers that be cut him off because at that time they wasn't trying to get over there. They weren't trying to build up Africa. But now the bankers and all of a sudden the light bulb went off. Now they want to build Africa. So we're gonna play this right here and then we'll comment on it.
Now,
Okay.
are you the one that
What's that?
are you the one that mentioned that Sierra Leone was another country where diasporans way back went there and got that country going too?
Yeah. It was a group of people that came from America. They went to Liberia. They set up Liberia, and it was a bunch of African. It was a bunch of people from Britain that set up Sierra Leone.
Oh, okay, okay.
Right. Both of them came out of transatlantic slave trade.
Tail Radio. This broadcast, we're going to have Sister E, Minister Tail, and myself, Yakoba. We're going to be talking about Pan-Africanism and the Second Exodus. Yeah. There's a lot to this, a lot of theoretical stuff we're going to talk about as well.
Yeah, the reason I'm dealing with this is this stuff happening so fast. You're gonna look up, like I say, you're gonna be standing on the west coast of Africa.
And that's what it sounds like for real.
Right. Okay.
This should be real good. So Pan-Africanism, literary school or movement description. Pan-Africanism is a worldwide movement that aims to encourage and strengthen bonds of solidarity between all indigenous and diasporan ethnic groups of African descent. Introduction. This is a theoretical discussion based upon certain scriptures and historical events. We're not saying, thus says the Lord. As we always say, eat the meat, spit out the bones. However, there are things we need to look at with different eyes. We've seen in the scriptures where certain words were used and interpreted differently. We must look at these things and pray about it because some of this makes sense to us. So as I said, family, eat the meat, spit out the bones. Unbelieving Africans and African Americans. Let's talk about that right quick. There are many African and African Americans who are Pan-Africanists, but they do not believe in the Bible. They have a desire to return to Africa, but they do not realize that this desire of theirs was given to them by God. They refuse to associate with those of us who believe we are Israel because they hate the Bible and what they call religion. They think the Bible is a white man's book, many of them. Why is this? It is because the devil and his people use their book or our book to beat them with. So when they have awakened to the truth of their enslavement, they reject the scriptures because they view it as the mechanism of their enslavement mentally. Technically, they are correct because the colonizers and slave masters used European Christianity to enslave us and to enslave our minds. They made our Bible a white man's book when in reality it is an African book. They've been played so well by the devil, looking centuries ahead. So the devil's been looking centuries ahead, knowing that these people were going to be persecuted, took their own religion, what we call religion, right? Their own culture, their own ethnicity, all of this, took it and used it against them, beat them over the head with it, okay? So now that they've started to awaken, some of them are turning away from the faith and giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils. What do I mean by that? They want to go back to ancestral worship, many of them, because they have no direction. They think the Bible is the white man's book. They think the Bible is what's enslaved them. So therefore they hate any of us who have awakened to being Israel, don't want to associate with us, but yet they're fulfilling prophecy. They don't realize that they're fulfilling biblical prophecy. So here is an organization called Sankofa, and it's Sankofa repatriation something. You'll see when this video is played. So I'm gonna hand this over to Sister E, and she's gonna play this for you, and you're gonna see what Sankofa is about.
All right. So let me get this up and going for you. Right, I need that link. Let me get that link so I can show it. 1 second, family.
I'm sorry, I thought I had sent it. I'll send it to you right away.
Yeah, you said it on the other one.
Yeah.
1 second, family. Right.
We are calling for the immediate repatriation.
We
are calling.
Over at the beginning and share my screen. All right, family, here we go. Let's start sharing it. Can y'all see it?
Yep.
All right.
We are calling for the immediate repatriation of the diaspora to forward to Mama Africa. Unified Influential Advocates of Africa, the Exodus Alliance, is hosting a 2-day telethon to raise funds for people like you and I to successfully settle in the motherland. Join us on May 25th and 26th as we take hold of our destiny. We are.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Was he speaking of May 25th, May 24th and 25th this month?
No,
Oh, that was earlier, recorded earlier.
last year.
Oh, last year, okay.
So they were saying immediate. They've been raising money for getting African Americans to leave here. So that was a year ago. So imagine where they are now.
Right.
My screen again.
So it's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. People ain't manifested itself in the surface yet.
What we saw there, family, is Sankofa repatriation. And there you have a lot of Pan-Africanists who are talking about going back to the continent. What they want to do is the last time I saw, they're trying to get about 1 million people to go back to the continent. So they're setting up these programs and everything to help send people back to the continent, and they're going to help finance it.
Yeah, that's kind of ironic because if you're familiar with From Babylon to Timbuktu, the book, the guy, the author of that book, is saying how 1 million people fled from Israel. So now all of a sudden they want 1 million people to leave here.
Right.
If they can get the money. So they've been trying to get people to donate. Now, I reached out to them. I haven't heard anything back from them because I wanted to interview one of their leaders. and I haven't heard anything back. That doesn't mean they're not going to contact us, but the thing we must take note is that even though they're not believers, many of them, I don't know if some of them may be Israelites, even though they're not believers, they're fulfilling prophecy.
Mm-hmm.
See, the desire that they have to go back to the continent, it really took off at the same time, around, the same time that we all started awakening.
Mm-hmm.
Some of us have awakened to being Israelites, some of us have become what they call Pan-Africanists, and his desire to get rid of the white man's rule has gone to another level. And people are really taking major steps to make sure that there's a mechanism or a system in place for us to go back. So, and I'm gonna ask this question to my co-hosts. What do you all think about this? Is it a move of God? Because the way I see things is, a lot of times we want to put God in the box. We don't know how God is going to do something, but yet we see this desire in people who are of African descent, who are Israelites, they may not know it, wanting to go back to the land. And they
Exactly.
trying to put in the mechanism. Now, we're all waiting for God to bring us back, right?
But didn't he say, bring forth the blind?
Mm.
They have ears and can't hear, and eyes and can't see.
Mm-hmm.
Is it possible that God can be using people as part of his plan? What do you all think?
So what, Leonard, what are you making that reference to? Could you say a little bit more? Bring forth the blind. So that, what is that? How does that connect with the Israelites and prophecy being fulfilled?
Well, a lot of them don't know who they are, and a lot of them don't know the prophecy.
Mm-hmm.
So they have, like he said, they have a desire to go back, but they don't know why.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Blind to the fact what's going on with the prophecy, and that goes back to what, like I said before, when he said that, and Daniel told us that they was going to change times and laws. Well, they not understanding these times and laws, these prophecies that they throwed off. When they took they throwed off prophecies in order to do that.
Uh-huh.
See, yeah. Like I said, when you go back to when Jesus said, JC said that when you see the temple surrounded with armies, know that the abomination, desolation is going to happen.
Right.
But that already happened. With
it's throwed off.
It was surrounded, so they used him and throwed off prophecies.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Throwed off, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now that's the first time I've heard you put it that way, and of course it's just amazing to even though you're saying some of the same things that you always say, there's so much power in repetitiveness because you hear it anew and afresh and different. Now you just said something that really strikes me, and that is JC was used to throw off prophecy.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah. Wow.
They can't, nobody, the average person, they can't see that, but that's the problem. That's the whole problem. You can't, no way you could think like a Hebrew. It goes back to the invasive species thing. You ain't gonna see what's going on with Hebrew Israelites if you dealing with something that's some evasive person or evasive race gave you.
Mm-hmm.
You ain't gonna see what you need to see because you didn't incorporated their thoughts into your and their ideologies into your train of thought.
Yes.
You can't see it.
Yes.
Until you get it out in the script, everything gonna be fake.
Exactly. Exactly. Right. Yeah. Just real quick, even and I know this is a little bit off. So when we think about the burning bush, and even though the text, even though I read this text for years, and it clearly said, the angel of the Lord.
Right.
With my thinking, the way I have been programmed, that was Jesus. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Subliminally.
Yeah, but now that the angels have been represented to me, the angels have been presented in their truth. When you say an angel is on the bush, it's like a whole new world opens up.
Right.
Because you understand why, the angels do the bidding for Yahweh. He's not coming down here to talk to us.
Right. Right. Yeah, that's like I was saying from the class last night. The guy was talking about trying to put an emphasis on Hebrew, understanding Hebrew and all this and that. We're not reading the scriptures right. I don't care if you Chinese. It's 7 angels.
Yes. Yes.
I don't care if you German.
Yes.
It's still 7 angels. Then you German or Italian, whatever. Michael's still the Lord of hosts.
Yes.
You can fumble with it if you want to.
Yes. Yes. And Leonard, the nation of Israel is the focal point of Scripture. That you know the nation of Israel and how their God interacts with them, even when they have a bad attitude, even when they sin against Him. The whole I'm talking speaking of the Old Testament. I don't even regard the New Testament. I'm saying the whole Scripture, everything that's happening is about God and His interaction with the tiny nation of Israel.
Right, exactly.
You know, and when you don't know that the Most High, that one of those 7 inherited the nation of Israel, and you're told in Christianity, you know, you're not even introduced to the angels. The only angel you introduced to is some angel that came and told Mary that she was going to be,
right,
receiving a child or whatever. But it's just so amazing and such a blessing when you get the truth. Like you say, you don't have to fight with nobody. You don't have to try to twist no one's arm, because the spirit of God is going to resonate with them when they hear the truth.
Right. Exactly. Right. Like I said, the guy keep on talking about, and you hear a lot of people, whenever it started, when the conversation started getting tight and getting hot, because now the Most High done raised up people that back in the day used to get away. You can't get away now. So the scriptures start closing in on you because you thought you know them, and they start closing in. Then you want to start talking about understanding it in the Hebrew. So
exactly.
My thing to that is this: when you understand what's going on, only one language came down from heaven. That was Hebrew. All the other languages down here was manifested down here, concocted. But the pure language was Hebrew, and it came down from heaven. The angels brought it down. So it's been taken back up. So what you talking about? And so how you know that? Zechariah 3:9. He says, one of the main reasons why we so off right now is we ain't speaking our language.
Right.
He says, for then, Zephaniah 3:9, for then will I turn to the people the pure language, that they may call upon the name of the Lord. See that we can't call on him right now. We just got to come up with a code right now, but we don't know the pure language. So it says, for then will I turn to the people of pure language, that they may call upon the name of the Lord to serve him in one consent. So when he do this, when he turn the pure language.
Yes.
Well, we know his name, then he did. So they knew the pure language. That's why 13 different times they went into captivity. He came and got them because they knew his name. They had the pure language.
Yes.
This has been taken away from us.
Mm-hmm.
That's like walking in the jungle and the lion can't roar.
Mm-hmm.
You know he there, but he can't roar.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the same thing. Yeah. So that's one of our major problems right there, is that we're not speaking our pure language. It was taken away.
Yes.
So that's a fallacy. When you bring it up, like I said, it don't matter what language you're talking in. It's 7 angels.
That's amazing.
It's one Lord of hosts.
Yes.
You can turn flips. Whatever, Swahili, whatever you want to talk it in, it's still 7.
Yes. Yes.
And you don't have the concept. You all off.
Okay. That's amazing. And in seminary they teach us Greek. And I mean, and that's now to me that's like crazy. Like, I don't need to know no freaking Greek. Well, I may need to know it in order to understand how they Hellenized everything. But
Right.
they teach us in seminary to, when you preach and you say, oh, and I looked up the Greek understanding of this word, that don't mean crap.
Right. Right.
Because the original language is Hebrew. I need to know the Hebrew understanding of this word.
Right. But I go back to what I said. They got you, like I say, a bank in the middle of your town. You think it's good, but it's bad.
Yeah.
It's an abomination. So the Greek ain't what's so big about the Greek?
Nothing.
See,
exactly.
They done brainwash us and make us think Greek is good, but we know Japhet speak Greek, and Japhet came descended. So
right. Wow.
Come on.
And I used to revel. I used to revel in the fact that I could get up and, speak some Greek words and all this kind of stuff. And it's just like, and that's what happens. People say what you don't know don't hurt you. That's a lie. Yes, it does. It'll have you looking crazy.
Right. Exactly. Right. Especially now, like I said, you trying to come in and talk to 20 years ago, 10 years ago, you had a congregation and you was talking to the people and telling them all that garbage. And they ain't the same people no more. You can't talk to them like that no more.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Going for that. That's up. Time up for that. They ain't trying to do. Yeah. We'll get some more of this.
I mean, I think that is the case because we have to look at where we started from, then where we came from before we came over here. Because if you look at the prophecy of Joel 3, it does point us to Africa. I think you had a conversation before about that. It talks about in Joel 3 how they were going to scatter us, and once they scatter us, they'll part our land. The only place that they pulled us out of and they scattered us and they parted our land was in Africa. Because if you know anything about the 1885 Berlin Conference, the nations came together and divided up our land. So, being honest, that is our land. It's redirecting us. The word of God is literally redirecting us back to Africa, because that's the land that the nations divided amongst themselves. So, I think this is prophetic.
Right. So I want to expound on that right there. Then we're gonna move on to something else. So she said, during the Berlin Conference, they divided up our land, right?
Mm-hmm.
Obadiah. I'm in the book of Obadiah, and it says, starting at verse 10, chapter 1, verse 10 says, for thy violence against thy brother, Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off. So this is what Esau done to Jacob. 11. In the day that thou stoodest on the other side, in the day the strangers carried away captive his forces, foreigners entered into the gates and cast lots. That's where the land got divided up.
Mm-hmm.
They cast lots upon Jerusalem. Jerusalem is our land. They cast lots upon Jerusalem. Even thou was one of them. So Esau, these bankers I'm telling you about, the ones behind all this road and belt initiative and all this big old influx of information going toward Africa, now all of a sudden it's the bankers, which is Edomites. They the ones took our land way back in the book of Obadiah and divided it up. Not the Berlin Conference. Okay, so yeah, with that being said, we're gonna move on to something else. Okay. So that what I was watching right there was the Pan-Africanism and the second Exodus, if you want to watch the whole thing.
The second Exodus?
Yeah, Pan-Africanism and the second Exodus.
Okay.
Okay. So with that being said, I was going to do a little bit of this. I was going to deal with a little bit of the book of Enoch, according to angels, dealing with angels.
Yay.
Book of angels. The book of Enoch and dealing with the angels. And I keep on saying over and over again how that this is the very beginning, how gods, when they say God, when Satan said, let me read it right quick. Satan said, you got to get this in your head, program it in your head. Satan said right here to Eve, talking to Eve. He says,
Genesis 3:2.
Yeah, Genesis 3, start at verse 1 says, now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field, which the Lord. So it says, now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Lord God had made. And he said unto the woman, yea, now God said, you shall not eat of every tree of the garden. And the woman said unto the serpent, we may eat of the fruit trees of the garden, but the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God hath said, ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. Then it says 4, and the serpent said unto the woman, ye shall not surely die. Verse 5, for God doeth know that in the day that ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, ye shall be as gods. That's elves. That's elves. That's angels. Didn't he take a third of the angels came down with him?
Yes.
Okay, see that? Knowing good and evil. So these angels know good and evil.
Yes.
They elves. This is big. You can't keep from them with this word gods. It's elves. So we finna go in there and deal with it right now. Like the guy yesterday, last night on the class last night. You know, he don't understand that. So I'm in the book of Enoch. I'm gonna start reading. We're gonna get to the bottom of that. It says,
what chapter, Leonard?
Let me get it. I'm starting in chapter 6. But I'm in this new ancient book of Enoch.
Okay. So it's going to be different. The chapters are going to be different. Okay.
Right. So it says it's about the watchers. So the watchers are elves. Okay. The angels, the elves. So it says it's the descent of the 200 angels. It came to pass in those days that the children of men multiplied and beautiful and fair daughters were born unto them. The angels, the sons of the heaven, saw and lusted after them and said to one another, come, let us choose wives from among the children of men and begot children. And their leaders, Simjaza, said to them, I am afraid that you will not truly agree to this deed, and I alone will pay penalty for this great sin. They all answered him, saying, we shall all swear to bind ourselves by mutual oath, not to abandon this plan, but to do the same. So this is what you're seeing in Hollywood. It's perversiveness all over Hollywood, but they got oaths.
Yes.
This is where it comes from. But you won't know that because they took the book, understanding the book Enoch away from them. So it says, so all others, they bound themselves by an oath, by mutual agreement to be wicked as hell. That's what it is. It says, and everywhere else, it says there were 200 total that descended in the days of Jared upon artists, the summit of Mount Hermon. They called it Mount Hermon because they had sworn and bound themselves by oath upon it. These are the names of the leaders. So here we go. We go to L's right here. These are the names of the leaders. Simjaza, their leader. Arbial, Remiel, I can't say his name right, pronounce it. Abiel, Tamiel, Remiel, Daniel, Ezequiel, Borakel, Azarel, Omeraz, Bartal, Ane. So you go to L's. So these ain't gods, they elves.
Yes.
Say,
wicked.
Yeah, did it say these leaders led the rest of the 200 angels? See that? Now, like I was saying before, everything is scientific. These angels are scientific. Yah is scientific. So it says each of the 200, each of the 200 chose a wife for themselves, and they begin to go into them, right? So if you got an angel and a woman, and he going into it, what's going to happen?
Gonna create a giant baby.
Right. You ain't gonna get no puppy. So it's scientific. Like I'm saying about the invasive species. He ain't different and totally different than you just for the hell of it. It's something going on. Something ain't right. So it says, Each of the 200 chose a wife for himself, and they began to go in unto them and mate with them. So the next step, a man and a woman or angel come together, the next step is they're going to mate. And the next step after that, they're going to have a giant.
Mm-hmm.
It's like clockwork. You ain't going to get nothing else. So it says, and they taught them sorcery. Here we go. We go to wickedness, though. But you got to see what this wickedness is, because we've been fumbling with it. So it says, and they taught them sorcery, enchantments. Huh? That's palm
Yeah.
reading.
Yes.
They didn't glorify that.
Mm-hmm.
Enchantments and the cutting of roots. They didn't glorify that.
Yes.
It made them acquainted with plants. They didn't glorify that.
Yes.
So what plants? The plants that alter your mind.
Weed
and all that stuff that alter your mind.
Come on.
That's how they get you to. That's how you get into seeing when you ain't got the mind that the Most High gave you to observe and deal with things that's in your immediate
environment.
Yeah. So your mind been altered, you're gonna end up in sin.
Exactly.
These women became pregnant and gave birth to great giants whose height reached up to 300 L. These giants consumed all the food, and when men could no longer sustain them, the giants turned against them and devoured mankind. They also began to sin against the birds, the beasts, and the reptiles, and the fish, to devour one another's flesh and drink the blood. Right? Then the earth laid accusation against the lawless ones. So why the earth?
Because that's the woman. That's the righteous.
That's the mom.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's where Adam came from. Says then Aziel. That's the L. See that? Look at this. Taught men to make swords, knives, shields, armor. From the metal
of mirrors.
He taught look at this. This is what we from with right here too. He taught the women how to see behind them. Anybody know what that means?
Say that again, Leonard.
He said he taught women to see behind them.
Fortune tellers.
Come on. Anybody know what that is?
To see behind them?
Yeah.
Mirror.
There you go.
Oh, wow.
That's big. That's big, but we fumbling with it. See what I'm saying? That's big. So it says he taught the women how to see behind them. Okay. Ain't that what the white man did with Shaka Zulu? Okay. So anyway.
Wow.
So what you do in the mirror? You're always in the mirror. Come in the mirror. Ain't that where it? So it says,
okay.
how to now look at this. How to make bracelets, ornaments, and other kinds of jewelry. Look at this. How to make bracelets, ornaments, and other kinds of jewelry using precious stones.
Yeah.
And beautifying of the eyes with makeup.
Leave the makeup alone. Leave the makeup alone.
No, you got.
No, I'm just kidding, baby. I'm just kidding.
You got to do with it what you want to do with it. But I'm just saying that we reading the book of Enoch and showing you the origins of this.
Right.
So the mirrors and the makeup go together now.
Right.
Come on.
OMG.
Oh my God.
So let's look at it though. Let's look at it. So let's go to Israel. I mean Isaiah right quick. In both situations, right there, the Most High and Enoch, they ain't fumbling with it. So
we going in.
So look at this right here. The daughters of Zion. Moreover, the Lord said, it's the Lord.
Where are you, Leonard?
Isaiah chapter 3, verse 16.
Okay.
Moreover, the Lord said, because the daughters of Zion are haughty and walk with stretched forth necks and Wu-Tang eyes, walking and mincing as they go, making tingling with their feet. Therefore, the Lord will smite thee with a scab and crown of the head, and the Lord will discover their private parts.
Come on now. Come on now.
And in that day, the Lord will take away the bravery of their tingling ornaments. All this what the angel just showed them how to do. Ornaments.
Oh, wow.
Their coils and their round ties like the moon, the chains, the bracelets, and the mufflers. So my thing is this here. This is what I keep on saying is You can come walking up there if you want to with all that on when it's time for us to leave.
Oh my. Oh my.
Leonard, hold up. Okay, Leonard, I have a question.
Come on, you can walk up there if you want to and forget
Leonard,
about what's being said. What'd you say?
I have a question. Now, I don't know if this is the connection, but when the nation of Israel was being delivered from Egypt,
right,
they spoiled the Egyptians for their gold now.
Right. So let's look at it.
Okay.
So where did the fall? With these two, we just read these 200 angels. This is what I keep on telling people. They don't tell you the geographical location where they went.
Mm-hmm.
Where they went.
They was in Egypt.
Okay, what the Egyptians was doing?
The Egyptians were they were harassing them.
The Egyptians were painting their face.
Oh,
go to the thing. They wearing the makeup. They could see behind them.
Right.
These angels showed them all this right here. These the same angels. This is where it happened at in Egypt.
So right.
So when it was time to go, the Israelites spoiled them because they had on all that stuff. They had on gold earrings, all that. So the Egyptians spoiled them. They took all that off and gave it to the Egyptians. The Egyptians just needed the gold. They didn't care if it was an earring or a bar or whatever it was. They wanted the gold. Most I wanted them to have the gold. So they took all that stuff off. These ornaments that came down from one of these angels that showed them how to do that. And they gave it to the Israelites. They gave it to the Israelites.
Right. So why did the Most High want the Israelites to have that?
Don't they have to go to go to his land Israel and build a temple?
Yeah.
They use that gold to build a temple. That's the same thing he did when they left Babylon. He told Cyrus to get them out. They had all the gold and all that they needed. And then not only that, when they got there, they had to buy. When you go back and look at the story about Sanballat, anybody know who that is? You know the guy that was
Sanballat and Tobias.
Right, all his friends. They had purchased those Israelites. They had Israelites in slavery like we all over here.
Yeah.
So they didn't have none. They was at the bottom of the food chain. And so Sanballat and them was used to that. But when Zerubbabel and Nehemiah and them came back, he's been talking, they throw gold all in his face.
Come on now.
He had to get on. He had to get on and get.
Yeah.
Most I had provided them what they needed to deliver their brethren.
Yeah. Okay.
Been using that they position to keep them bound.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's why every time we leave, we got to leave with great substance because we're gonna need it. Where we going?
Wow. I'm so curious too. I mean, I shouldn't say curious, but I'm just so anxious to see how our nation is going to be once the Lord of Hosts cleans us up, because
it's not gonna be few in number.
Huh?
Yes.
It's not gonna be few in number. You're gonna Again, so the main thing is that we totally forgot about the fear part of it.
Yeah. What you mean by that?
So if he say you can't go up there with no makeup on, no earrings and hoop earrings,
you better not do it.
And you go up there, then he's got you. Then you gonna
Lord,
you better not do it.
Yeah.
Ooh, help us, Lord, help me, Lord.
Fresh from over here, we got all these ideologies.
Yeah.
So on in verse chapter 9 says, it said some jobs that taught enchantments and root cutting. Amra taught how to resolve enchantments. Mordecai taught astrology. See, all this going on in Egypt. Taught the constellations. See, that's why the Egyptians are doing it. Timon taught the knowledge of the clouds. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Azadel taught the courses of the moon. All this Egyptians doing. So then it says, then Michael, Raphael, they go L's.
Come on.
They ain't L's for the hell of it. It says Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, and Uriel looked down from heaven and saw all the bloodshed upon the earth by the extreme lawlessness. And they said one to another, the earth is
deprived,
laid waste, and the voice of all the dead cried up to the gates of heaven. So let's go back and look at this. It says Michael L, Gabriel, Raphael, and Uriel.
Yes.
That's 4 angels.
The holy angels.
Do that ring a bell?
Say that again, Leonard.
Raphael, Gabriel, Michael L, Uriel. 4.
Yes.
When you hear that, what that tell you? What you get from that?
I mean, as it relates to the Most High.
Yeah.
The ones that carry his throne.
This is what I mean by thinking like a Hebrew.
The ones that carry his throne.
There you go. That's in Ezekiel. Ezekiel. That's 4. That's the 4 right here that carry his throne.
I'm a good student. I'll be listening.
You're gonna start seeing what happened is this in your face all through the scriptures, but you ain't linking it together. You ain't understanding what's going on.
Yeah.
So that's just like in the army, commander got a driver. He's standing outside the commander door waiting on him wherever he got to go. He's gonna get in the car and take him.
Yes. Wow.
Okay, so it says, the souls of men cry out to the holy ones of heaven, saying, bring our cause before the Most High. They said to the Lord, the King, Lord of lords, God of gods, King of kings, the throne of your glory endures throughout all ages, and your name is holy, glorious, and blessed unto all the ages. You have made all things and have power over all things, and you see all things. Nothing is hidden from you. You see what Azael has done, teaching unrighteousness in the earth and revealing the eternal secrets concealed in heaven. Since Zaza and those he has authority over have taught sorcery, and they have defiled themselves by sleeping with the daughters of men and revealed to those women. See that? They revealed to those women these sins. See that? Not the men. He says, and he have revealed to those women who they chose these kinds of sins. These women have begotten giants, and by the children the whole earth has been filled with blood and unrighteousness. These invasive species. Now the souls of the dead are crying out to the gates of heaven because of the lawlessness which has taken place on the earth. And you know all these things before they come to pass. You allow this, but have not told us what we should do to the giants who are destroying your creation. Right? So verse 10, let me go back over it right quick. So it says, you have made all things and have power over all things, and you see all things. How is he able to see all things?
He's able to see through those 7.
Right, exactly. So then the Most High, this verse chapter 10, then God passes judgment, right? This Yahweh passing judgment on what these 200 angels did. Okay, and like I was telling you before, this is what we don't do. DNA, we don't deal with, how things go. Like I said, if an angel sleep with a woman, then you're supposed to be expecting a giant. That's the next step. So he's gonna pass judgment.
Question.
Right? What's that?
What is the difference in Sanyaza and the serpent in the garden?
2 different beings. That's 2 different beings.
Okay.
So then you gotta understand when Moses was catching a lot of flack from all the Israelites because there was so many of them when they came out of Egypt, and he didn't know how to deal with them. Then Jethro told him how to divide them up into 50s. Then it'd be one righteous man over the 50.
Okay.
So that's what you're dealing with right here. So Jaws is one of the leaders. There's 200 of them, but it's a group of them that some Jaws is over.
But I'm saying, how does Satan, how does the one in the garden, what is his relation to I know they're all wicked. The serpent in the garden is wicked, and these guys are wicked. But what is the relationship? Did they follow Satan or?
Yeah, I'm going to show you this right here. This is another one of those things that once you see it, then you have to deal with it. So Satan is a title. So they ain't who showed up in the garden with Satan, but that ain't his name. That's his title. He's being an adversary because the garden is holy. So he's somewhere where he ain't got no business at. So he got bad intentions. So he's an adversary.
Okay.
That's what Satan means, but that ain't his name. We're gonna see right here who his name is, and then you got to deal with it. So he said, so we told that Lucifer taught Tubal-Cain how to make swords, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So remember that. So I'm in chapter 10. God passed the judgment. Then the Most High, the great and holy one, said unto Uriel, go to the son of Lamech, Noah, and tell him in my name, hide thyself, reveal to him the judgment that is approaching, that all life will be destroyed by a flood of water and will cover the entire earth. Instruct him how he may escape, and his seed may be preserved throughout all generations of the world. And the Lord said to Raphael, bind, look at this, bind Aziel, and cast him into the darkness. Now it's 200 of them, but now all of a sudden the first one he go to is Aziel.
Mm-hmm.
So keep that in mind. He said, go and bind him and hand and foot and cast him into darkness. So let's look at that. So so he say, oh, we know these angels are powerful, right?
Right.
So if you come up on another man, you and another man fight, if he can whoop you down and bind you hand and foot, he got to be more powerful than you.
Come on now. Yes.
So look what he do. Look what he say. He said, go down. He already know this. He said, bind Aziel hand and foot. That means he's more powerful than Aziel.
Yes. Wow.
Okay, so let's look at it. He says, bind him hand and foot and cast him in dark. That means it ain't like Aziel might win one day and the next day Uriel might win.
Right.
He already know he's more strong than him. So anyway, he says, make an opening. Look at this. Make an opening. And he done whooped him down. Then he say, make an opening in the desert. See that?
Mm-hmm.
Which is in Dedal. So I keep on bringing this up back over and over again about the Sahara Desert. The Sahara Desert ain't started out like that.
Mm.
That's like I said, a bank. A bank is wicked as hell. Well, something happened for the Sahara Desert like that. The Most High ain't do that.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a God of science. So you gotta ask the first thing you should say when you see the Sahara Desert, what happened?
Mm-hmm.
And what's this sign?
Mm-hmm.
So he says, bind and put him in the desert, which is in Dedal, and bind him there. Now watch this. And place upon him rough and jagged rocks, and cover him with darkness, and let him abide there forever, and cover his face that he may not see the light.
Come on.
Look at this. And on that day, on the day of great judgment, he will be cast into the fire. And now look at this. And heal the earth.
Yes.
Look at this. Heal the earth which angels have corrupted, and proclaim the healing of the earth, that I will heal it, so that not all the children of men perish through all the secret things that the watchers have disclosed and have taught their sons. The whole earth has been corrupted through the works of, look at this. Now, this is what I mean by you got to do what you got to do once this information comes forward. It says, the whole earth has been corrupted through the works that were taught by Aziel.
Aziel.
See that?
Mm-hmm.
So describe all these signs to him. See that? So where Lucifer at?
Is that him?
That's my point. Where Lucifer at? He said, all this is described to Aziel. Look at it. Now watch this. And the Lord said to Gabriel, proceed against the bastards, the reprobates, against the children of fornication, destroy the children of fornication and the children of the watchers from among men. Call them to go forth against one another. See that? Look at it.
Yeah.
All them to go forth against one another, that they may destroy each other in battle. See that? Ain't we waiting on World War III? See?
Yes.
For they will not have long life. Grant no request that their fathers may make of you on behalf of their children, for they hope to live an eternal life, but none of them will live past 500 years. So let's look at that. So we at World War II World War III break out or whatever. Okay, We on this side of the we on this side of we ain't up there in the throne room when the Most High said go down and cause them to fight against each other. It's time for Israelites to be delivered.
Yeah.
We on this end of it. But reading this here, we know what to happen. If they fighting amongst each other and killing each other off, and then we finna get delivered, we know what happened because we see what happened right here. We know the Most High sent out a decree.
I see. Uh-huh.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
so this is the point. Another point I'm making right here. 70 generations. I told you about the 70 generations before. It said the Lord said to Michael, go tell Samjaza and his associates who have defiled themselves by marrying women that they and all those they contaminated will be destroyed. See that? So go back to when Ezra came back and they had married strange wives.
Yeah.
See, we fumbling with all this. He says, by marrying the women that they and all that they have contaminated will be destroyed. When they have seen their sons slain one another and all their loved ones destroyed, bind them for 70 generations. Look at this.
Leonard, where are you?
I'm in
you still in chapter 10?
Chapter 10, verse 11. Verse 11.
Okay.
The Lord said to Michael, go and tell Samjaza and his associates who have defiled themselves by marrying women that they and all those that they contaminated, see that, will be destroyed. When they have seen their sons slain, sons slay one another and all their loved ones destroyed, bind them for 70 generations. Look at this. Under the valleys of the earth until the day of their judgment and their end, till their last judgment be passed on. So the valleys of the earth. So now we got deserts all over the place.
Yeah.
So is that a sign?
That's a sign.
See that?
The understanding of it today, that's a sign.
Right. So that for the ground, for the Sahara to be the way it is a sign that something happened there. It can't be nothing but this right here. Because he tell him, look at this, bind them under the valleys with an S on. We got deserts all over the place.
Yeah.
Of the earth until the day of their judgment and their end, till their last judgment be passed for all eternity. In those days they will be led off to the fiery abyss, to the torment of the prison in which they will be confined forever. And whosoever was condemned and destroyed will from thenceforth be bound together with them to the end of all generations. Destroy all the spirits of the reprobates and the children of the watchers, because they have oppressed mankind. See that? Oppressive spirit.
Yes.
Yeah. So I keep on saying the Israel oftentimes went down into Egypt, and the Egyptian Mizraim oppressed him.
Yeah.
All of Ham's sons ain't oppressive. It's the Egyptian. He came from, that's what the 200 angels came down in. Destroy all the wrong from the face of the earth and let every evil work come to an end. Right? And then it says, chapter 11. In those days, I will open the store of the chambers of the blessings which are in the heavens and send them down upon the earth over the work and labor of the children of men. And truth and peace will be associated together throughout all the days of the world and throughout all the generations of men. Chapter 12, Enoch testifies to the angels. Enoch was hidden before all this came to pass. So, now, like I said, go back to JC, the story of JC. He was hidden. JC was hidden.
Hidden in the bosom.
Right. Enoch was hidden. Yeah, this where it come from. Enoch was hidden before all this came to pass. No one knew where he was. See that?
Yes.
What he was doing. At this time, his activities were with the watchers, and his days were spent with the holy ones. I, Enoch, was blessing the Lord, the King of the world. And suddenly, the watchers called to me, saying, Enoch, scribe of righteousness, go to the fallen watchers who are it's the elves, gods, who have left their high heavens, the holy eternal place, and have defiled themselves with women, and have done as the children of the earth do, and have taken unto themselves wives, and greatly corrupted themselves on the earth. Tell them that they will not have peace, nor forgiveness of sin, for they will not delight in their children. They will witness the slaughter of their beloved ones and will weep over the destruction of their children. Even if they petition for all eternity, they will not obtain mercy or peace. Okay? Then this is the last, I'll read this, the last one. Chapter 13 says, Enoch's testimony to the angels. Enoch went and said, Aziel, you will not have peace. A severe sentence has gone forth against you, and he will put you in bounds. Your actions will not be tolerated, nor will mercy be granted to you because of your oppression and all of the abuse, godlessness, and sin which you have taught to me. Then I went and spake to them all together, and they were all afraid, seized with fear and trembling. They asked me to petition the Lord for them for forgiveness, because from this point on they could not speak with the Lord nor lift up their eyes toward heaven, ashamed on account of the shame of the sin for which they had condemned.
Mm-hmm.
So I did as they asked, and took their petition in regard to their individual deeds, forgiveness and peace. And I went off and sat down at the waters of Dan, in the land of Dan, which is south of the land of west of Mount Hermon. And I then fell asleep and dreamed about their chastisement, and heard a voice instructing me to tell it to the sons of heaven and reprimand them. And when I awoke, I came unto them, and they were all sitting together, weeping in Abishal, just between Lebanon and Caesar, and with their faces covered. I recounted before them the dream and spoke words of righteousness and reprimanded the fallen watch. Okay, so I'm stopping. So, like I was saying before, you have to understand when they start talking about gods and all that, it's it's L's. They don't want you to know that, but it's these angels, and they own these mountaintops, like I said, and that was Israel's whole problem when they got to the land of Canaan. Canaanites, those 4 nations are products from these fallen angels sleeping with women. That's what it was all over the place. That was their fathers. That was up on these mountains. They was going up there worshiping their fathers, and their fathers recommended that they bring human sacrifices to them. That's where it came from, human sacrifices. So when you take that, when you understand that, and you get over here, and all of a sudden Yahweh want a human sacrifice, it please him to bruise a human. Come on.
Come on now.
Garbage. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Did you just say that the angels that slept with the women, they were those wicked angels that came down and defiled themselves with women, they were the gods on those mountains for wicked sacrifices?
Right. They required of the people. Like I was saying, once they left their habitation and started sleeping with women, they became perverse.
Okay.
So now they want to be worshipped.
Okay.
They want to be worshipped. They want to be, they want to sacrifice. They got a disdain for humans.
Yeah.
So they want you to see. They had most I just call them reprobates and bastards, them giants. Because that's abomination. But they love their sons, but they got a problem with the Most High creation, the man he created.
Yeah.
They want you to bring him as a sacrifice.
Okay, that was what I was trying to get to.
Right.
The sons of the wicked angels,
right,
were commissioned to go and bring
Yah's creation, Yah man, Yahweh.
Come on now. Come on. Wow. Okay. And Leonard, what is it about the blood of Yah's people that these angels so thirsted for?
Well, it's not the blood. They still dealing with that now. All this stuff starting to come out now, but those priests, all the reason why it's so much child sacrificing and all that stuff in the Roman Catholic Church
Right.
is the fact that it's a what you call that it's a solution that the body create from extreme fear.
Okay.
And they that's what they want. So it's created within the blood, and they drain the body of that blood. They want to drink that.
Mm-hmm. After they have incited fear and created some type of something in that body.
And the body it produces that.
Okay.
That's why they so horrendous. That's even now. You know how horrendous that is for a grown man to penetrate a little old bitty baby.
Yeah.
Baby going through all kind of stuff. Baby going through all kind of stuff. So that the body sends off this certain type of chemical.
Adrenaline. It's an adrenaline. It's a fight or flight type of thing.
Right. And they I was watching this documentary where they were saying now, like when you see like the guy Johnny Depp, how he done dried up.
Who is that? Yes.
Johnny Depp. And then the lady, Celine Dion.
Yeah.
They cut him off. They cut him off from getting that it's something they done. They cut him off from getting a dose of it. And so they started tying up. Even his name was tripping for a minute. I don't know where. I haven't checked on him in a while, but the guy from Charlie Sheen.
Oh, Charlie Sheen. And even the guy that played Panther, he kind of was shriveling up.
Right, exactly. Bozeman.
Bozeman. Yeah. Okay, Leonard. So I got two other questions. Okay. I'm understanding that Enoch was sent to speak to these wicked elves.
Right.
So who is Enoch? I mean, that's the question I'm asking today. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know that Enoch is a righteous man of God, but he's got to be something else about him that he was sent to tell these elves, y'all ain't never coming back up before the throne.
Yeah, that's Melchizedek.
Oh.
That's the ordinance of Melchizedek. Enoch, the righteous king. Enoch passed it on down till you get to Genesis when Abraham met Melchizedek. That was Shem. And then the knowledge from what Enoch had gotten from going up to heaven was passed on from one generation to the next.
Right.
Yeah, because I'm saying who, like when you think about the three angels met Abraham, and then it said two of them went, but then one stayed back, and that was the Lord. So you say, okay, who is this angel? Well, that's what I'm saying about Enoch today. Like, who is Enoch?
Right. Enoch is, like I said, when you are dealing with the book of Enoch and you get the concepts of what's going on, that's the origin of the Son of Man. Enoch is that Son of Man. He tell Michael knows angels tell him, you the Son of Man. And righteousness abide on you.
Yes.
One generation to the next, righteousness is going to abide on you because you were so righteous you was taken up.
Yeah, and
you don't need nobody else to become born, and you don't need nobody else to do nothing.
Exactly.
On the righteousness, you don't.
Yeah, Leonard, and like you say, shoot, Enoch was the progenitor of Jeremiah and Daniel and Isaiah and all those guys. They were reading his stuff.
Yeah, they was reading his book. They took out.
Wow.
It's a major hole. It's a major hole in our understanding because of that.
Huge.
And even the characteristics of Enoch, the things that he did, he taught, and the fact that he consecrated himself, where he was just one-on-one.
Yes.
With the divine spirit. And
yes.
gaining wisdom and knowledge away from man, and they would hound him and bum him. Come on out, we want to learn, we want to know.
Yeah.
So to me, the characteristics, I guess his very existence reeked of divine energy,
yes.
knowledge, wisdom.
Wow. Yes.
And to me, he had all the makings that it took to be ascended.
Yes. Yes.
I guess
Right.
from the cradle, or probably from
Mm-hmm.
his conception, he was ready
Mm-hmm.
for it. So.
Right. Yeah,
Right.
he was the seventh one from Adam.
Okay.
Yeah. And then Leonard, the last thing I noticed, and this is what it means. This is all this teaching. I'm telling you, man, it just you start seeing stuff. And it says in verse number 9 of chapter 13, and behold, a dream came to me, and visions appeared above me.
Right.
That's like Daniel. That's like the Hebrew way, like
Exactly.
yeah,
Right. And they didn't move until that happened.
exactly.
They waited on that. That's what I'm saying. That's why it was no wavering with them. They all just Daniel did the same thing when he saw that it was time for them to leave. He had told them 70 years, so he immediately went into a fast
Yes.
for 21 days. But a lot of people ain't understanding what's going on. Even when he went out and when Joseph was talking to the Pharaoh,
Mm-hmm.
he said, "Let me go seek my God." He went out and sought the Lord. He gave him the understanding of the Pharaoh dream, and then Joseph came back in and told him
Mm-hmm.
what happened, what his dream was about.
Mm-hmm.
We ain't doing that now. They ain't happening now.
Right. Right. And then Leonard, my last comment is were you implying that Aziel is Satan?
Well, I'm saying when you're looking at it, Aziel is the one that came into the garden.
Oh, that's what I'm saying.
Right. Because Satan ain't nothing but a title.
Okay, Satan is a title. I got to remember that. Satan is a title, and
Right.
a title is kind of tells you the characteristics of the person that is under that evilness.
Right. That's why he says that old devil. That's a title.
Okay.
The serpent, that's a title.
Mm.
All them titles, which means shape shifting going on.
Mm.
Yeah, that's what these angels did. That's the difference in us and them. They come in all kind of ways.
Okay.
They have to transform themselves.
Mm-hmm. And are you implying that the barrenness of certain land regions are as a result of the wicked angels being buried or being held there?
Right. Yeah. It's as when you understand how the Most High work, you work with signs. So when you come to some place like the Sahara Desert, something had to happen. He done left the sign there. Something happened there because they ain't not. He said when they came back in Genesis 1 and returned to the earth, it was covered with water. Then he caused some parts of the earth to rise up out of the water, and that land that came up out of the water, he said it was good.
Yeah.
And so what did the land do? The land bring forth trees and vegetation.
Yes.
How can you have a place that big, the Sahara?
Okay.
It ain't bringing forth nothing. Ain't nothing but sand.
Mm-hmm.
Something had to happen there. It's a big sign.
Mm-hmm.
Had to
Mm-hmm.
happen there. Yeah.
Wow. All right.
Okay.
I had written down the word little children.
Right.
Some kind of way you was reading something, and I thought about, when it comes to wickedness, bro, the little children got to go too.
Oh yeah, right.
If they are the product of wickedness, and see that's what happened with the Amalekites.
Right.
That's the reason why Haman ended up over there with Esther trying to knock them off, because Saul did not totally annihilate the Amalekites like he was told. So that's all the way down to the little children,
Right.
And when
Exactly.
even with us being in slavery, take a look at some pictures of lynchings.
Right.
They got them little children down standing around there looking up, and they
Right.
saying, this is what you do with these kind of people.
Right. Exactly. And we, like I said, we're not looking at stuff we're looking at stuff sideways instead of looking at it head on the way for what it is. We dealing with everything from subliminal perspective. That's why you can't see the truth. When it's point blank, like I said, with the look at their actions. We got a record, a track record of what they done. J-Fat.
Right.
He different than everybody else. He got all this stuff going on, all this killing and murder and everything he done. And like I said, they don't want to deal with the transatlantic slave trade. That's the most inhumane act any race of people ever done.
And Leonard, I have a question. I don't know if you can answer this. It just might be something that I don't know. I'm going to speak from my perspective. I don't know. It's like whenever I see pictures of lynchings or if let's say I'm driving somewhere and I see one of my people that is homeless and very, very down and out, why do I feel shame about that? You know what I'm saying? I feel shame instead of feeling, and well, I know the situation. I know that we were just totally destroyed, or not totally destroyed, but we were degraded. We were mistreated. Babies ripped out of our women. I know why I see my people down and out, but why do I feel ashamed when I look at pictures of lynching or when I see my people walking down the highway or somewhere? Why do I feel shame instead of I feel compassion, but I also feel shame.
Well, that's part of the prophecy. He said that we're gonna have everlasting shame and contempt.
Okay.
Until he comes back. So when you see it, being that you're an Israelite, you have Israelite spirit in you, that's the first thing it's gonna be is it's kind of like a double-edged sword. It's from both sides.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what that is. It's about well, really, to tell you the truth, if you don't have that, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
Because that's the spirit the Most High said is going to be on us. Is that we're going to have, we're going to be, we're going to be called everything but the Son of God, and then we're going to be downtrodden and shamed and forever, content.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what happens.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Anybody else got anything before we go?
Yes. You speaking about wars. I saw a video where they were talking about some news outlet was talking about how France seemed to be flexing. Yeah, it looked like they're preparing for war with somebody.
Right.
Oh, you seen that too?
Yeah. It's not just France. You got Russia flexing their muscles, and China. China then flex. It's like I said. It's a war in the air. It's war in the air, and it's about what we've been dealing with today about Africa rising.
Right.
It's a war. It's a fight for. It's like the last. Africa is like the last frontier.
Yeah.
And they
Uh-huh.
whoever control Africa is gonna control the world.
Right. And you remember they had that summit in Anchorage, Alaska. What was that, in March?
Right.
Where China called them out
Oh
about
yeah.
racism.
Yeah. I was
Slaughtering
watching it the other
African
day.
American. Yeah.
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 Yeah. That was, like I said, that was you can go two ways there because they was calling us out, and then at the same time they was calling white America out too for what they done and what they still doing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Right. They ain't their first time doing that, because I think it was in World War I or II. The Chinese putting those leaflets out, putting leaflets out, trying to persuade the black soldiers to come on their side or stop fighting for America.
Oh.
Yeah, they put those leaflets out telling them you ain't got nothing to do with this, and look what they done to you and the slave trade and all that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Is that something?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. What? Two more things. One is, remember, like when I was in Gambia, they burnt down that factory, that Chinese factory, fish factory, in one of the villages in Gambia.
Right.
Yeah, but it was the government had told the Chinese that they can go there, but that me, she's one of the people that have YouTube said that they're not coming back. Chinese not coming back because they ain't let them come back. And they said the worst thing you could do is make one of them the Gambians as a whole angry, and that's what made them burn that factory down in the first place, because they said the Chinese had some a person from Senegal that worked for them at that factory go and try to break into the woman's house, and
Right.
her neighbor, she was a Caucasian, but the neighbor got killed because she called him because somebody was trying to break into her house. And then the next thing is, did you know about 3 years ago is when the new president of Gambia stopped them from circumcising the girls?
Oh wow.
Yeah. I saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
how it was explained to me that up until 3 years ago, they just stopped doing that. Oh man, that's terrible. That's
Right.
terrible.
Is that something?
Yes, that's not good.
Right. Yeah, that's
And
crazy.
that's all I had.
Okay.
Mm.
Right. So with that being said, we're gonna get some of this here, and then we're gonna go to the. Let me see where I'm at. Mm. Okay.
Yes. Mm. Come on, Judah.
Okay. I'm gonna see y'all at 6 o'clock tonight.
Okay.
Shalom.
Bye, everybody. Shalom, shalom.